free, completely liberated from all of the stresses of our modern world, all the negativity that comes through. And when we come out in the Glacier Bay, we remember that we're part of something much greater. We remember that life is a gift and that it's meant to be celebrated. That's why I keep coming back to this place year after year.
Glacier Bay for the very first time, it is your anticipation that is answered back by the wilderness.
Continuing before our eyes.
Glacier Bay will change you. It will change you with the conversation you have with the glaciers, that feeling that you get from that wilderness and that wild. It will change you.
We'll go down Lynn Canal and we'll come into Icy Strait. And as we come up Icy Strait, we'll go past Pleasant Island and then we'll be at the entrance to Glacier Bay. As we make that turn into Glacier Bay, we'll go a couple miles into the bay and a small boat will come out to meet us. We'll open a door in the side, we'll lower a ladder down, and the rangers will climb on board to join us for the day.
Wilderness area that adjoins 3 other national park areas across our international boundary. So we're actually in one of the most remote places you can reach on Earth.
The thing that's really special about Glacier Bay, this whole area, just 200 years ago, was completely covered in glaciers. This was the middle of the Little Ice Age, and glaciers had advanced.
The Little Ice Age began actually around the year 1300 and went on for centuries, and it reached its apex in the 18th century, right around the year 1750.
beautiful glacier. It starts way up in the mountains at about 12 or 13,000 feet. And it's about 17 miles long. It moves about 10 feet a day. And so a glacier moving 10 feet a day, it means that 10 feet of ice is coming down and 10 feet of ice is calving off, theoretically. Glaciers that are in tidewater, they can't survive in deep water. They have to build up a pile of dirt and rubble underneath them called a moraine. And so most glaciers, if you see a tidewater glacier, will be at Marjorie a quarter mile off or a half mile off. We'll be in 400 to 600 feet of water. But that glacier is sitting in about 75 to 100 feet of water because it's got that big pile of dirt and rubble built up under it.
When we got to the Marjorie Glacier, we were also able to see a little bit of the Grand Pacific Glacier. The Grand Pacific Glacier suffered a landslide years ago, and many folks didn't even know they were looking at not only a glacier, but the glacier which produced this bay.
The glacier retreated back about 35 miles when John Muir showed up in the 1870s, and then since then has retreated almost 65 miles back to the end of the bay.
Glacial destruction. So it's a bit of a war between salt water and ice. And so the glacier has come down and then it hits the salt water, and salt water is corrosive to ice as well. And so they're fighting against each other, and the salt water is like, break apart. And just the weight of the glacier and then the salt sort of pulling the glacier apart causes these weaknesses in the ice itself to shatter, and then large chunks of the glacier will break off. So calving is the birth of an iceberg. It's where you have a tidewater glacier breaking because either there's a ledge and it just weighs too much and it falls off, like if you push a cake to the side and it breaks off, or it's just the salt water eroding it itself, and then large chunks will fall in.
Calving is more than a visual experience. Of course, we've all seen photographs and watched videos of ice falling into the water, but when folks get here and they hear the ice falling into the water, they're often surprised. The sound sometimes reverberates for miles, and many folks are even a little bit startled when they first hear it. It makes an incredible impact. The native peoples here, the Tlingit peoples, who have lived here for many, many centuries, they had a term for calving. They called it white thunder.
looking at it, you can't believe that you're not looking at some spectacular photo that some guy from National Geographic took.
The Aleutian Ballad is the actual boat that took a 60-foot rogue wave over the side. A lot of people say the best part of this excursion is that you get to have the real fishermen that live their life out on the Bering Sea. And when these guys share, they share from the heart. They tell you stories of trials and tribulations, of fascination.
We are not tour guides by any means. we are all commercial fishermen. This is an actively fishing commercial boat. Now, it no longer actively fishes in the Bering Sea, but you're going to actually see the equipment that we use when you're out there, the launchers, the crab blocks, the coilers. This boat has the true feel of an Alaska Bering Sea crab boat, as she should, since she actively fished in the Bering Sea for 26 years. Joint venture with the Tsimshian. They actually allow us to come into their waters. Those are the Annette Island Reserve waters. Without them allowing us to come into their waters, this tour would not exist as it does here today. They actually regulate and manage their own fisheries, and they allow us to come into their waters and share with you folks everything you're going to see here on the Aleutian Valley.
Something that appeals from the grandkids to grandma and grandpa, from the kids all the way up. It's something that's enjoyable for everybody. They get to see not only what lives above the water, but what lives below. We do fill in the blanks of that TV show. Everybody that works on the boat, as far as the men, they've lived that life and done it. It's their passion, and their passion. They're passionate about sharing it with people.
Even though these are wild bears living their life kind of as unbothered as we can make them, partly that's because of the sort of gentle way that we treat them, or we try not to interfere with them. I like the way that we have these bridges up above, and so we're not right in their area where they eat. We're not like right in amongst them, scaring them. We're up above, we're not interfering. Almost a problem, because people tend to think they're toys or they're goofy or something, because they're sort of lerpy, kind of walking around. But they're very effective predators, very fast, very fierce if they have to be. Pink salmon runners on have been good this year. They just keep coming. That's the end of their life. It's sad in a way, but at least those fish got to sort of fulfill the measure of their creation. Plus, it's an important part of the forest. This rainforest is the second largest in the world. It's the largest temperate rainforest, yet there's only a few inches of topsoil on top of volcanic rock And so those fish coming up here every year is important. That's biomass, it's fertilizing. And so we get this lush rainforest because of it. But I keep being drawn back here. I like Alaska. It really is a frontier. One of the deals with these animals, even these cities here, you just get a few minutes out of town. There's so many animals, and they're not afraid of you. I suspect it was like that down in the States a few hundred years ago.
So we'll start off by heading towards Holt Island for a delicious salmon bake at Orca Point Lodge. To inland waters of Juneau, Alaska in search of whales, sea lions, seals, eagles, and lots of other wonderful wildlife. We're definitely going to find ourselves some humpback whales. We love humpback whales out here, the largest species we could see. We'll keep our eyes out in the trees for bald eagles, maybe look for a haul-out spot or a buoy full of sea lions, and see if we see any seal heads popping up here and there as well.
really does spread out and become a beautiful waterfall.
able to fly into the airport and drive all of 10 miles and see something so magnificent that you are not able to see in other parts of this country. It's mind-blowing to me. I'm from Georgia, and we don't have mountains. We don't have mountains with snow tops on them. We don't have glaciers, or even an ocean nearby. So for me, it's breathtaking and just glorious to live in this environment, to live in a habitat that has diverse animals and salmon and bears and everything that is just all connected, and it makes you want to come back over and over again. Just growing up, I'd always dreamt of working in some type of national forest or a national park where I can talk to visitors and just express my passion for wildlife and for just different habitats and ecosystems. So I came here just out of chance and out of luck as an intern, and I was graciously invited to come back again. The waterfall will slow down just because of the polar climate and temperatures, but as the summer progresses, more snow melt happens and more rainfall will occur, and therefore it's a stronger amount of flow and more impressive, and it draws visitors to the waterfall. About Juneau is why I enjoy coming back here. You're able to bike for 30 minutes and go to an ocean. You're able to walk 5 minutes and climb a mountain. And there's just so much recreation and so much natural wonder here.
has been here maybe 20 years, and it just recently switched ownership. And it's basically just evolved into this really neat place for people to come and visit. It's out in the middle of nowhere, and it has the museum and the dogs, and it's great for Michelle because I think if this wasn't here, her mushing adventures would be a lot more difficult. So it's nice because she lives in Tagish, right next to here. So yeah. They would go to Skagway and get fish and things like that, and then bring it up the trails and trade with the natives that were further inland. So Carcross is really that native town, and that's where Skookum Jim lived and died. And he was basically helped William Moore map out the White Patch Trail.
a.m. on the 27th of June 2018. Hello. Today is June 27, 2018. We arrive Whistler, Alaska last night. Here the Whistler area.